Hi guys, welcome back to Alamat, where we translate and narrate Asian myths, urban legends, and horror stories to share with the world. Our tale for this week is about a certain burger stand that the author frequented. This tale is called The Burger Stand by Coyle John Asile. It was 3 years ago since the burger stand opened. I am a local police officer working in Manila, and I happened to buy burgers from the nearby burger stand that stood across my house. I always liked to eat hamburgers, and I have been eating it since I was a kid. I couldn't say no to a burger, as it has been my favorite food. But it also was the one that will traumatize me for the rest of my life. One day, a man in his 50s set up a burger stand called Joey's Burgers. The man was a 5'11" tall white American with gray hair and a full beard. He had a permit to set up a burger stand, and it was a perfect spot because the location he chose to set up his burger stand is just a few meters away from Antonio Rizal National High School, and people from all ages went to buy his burgers. I was one of them, and at first it tasted good. He was not like the other burger stand owners who bought their processed patties, but instead he made his own patties at home and stores them in coolers and freezers, then brings them to his stand to cook and serve. He usually opens at 8 a.m. as it was a vacant time for some students who will buy his burgers, and I will always buy burgers on my way to work. And it is that time when he opens his stand that I would go and buy his burgers. I would even buy 3 burgers at a time, and I honestly loved it because the burgers tasted good. I befriended Joey and we became good friends. He usually reserves 3 burgers for me every time he opens his stand, and he is so polite and has a good sense of humor, even if there was a language barrier. He always jokes to me that his patties were made of rat meat, which is a popular urban legend here in Manila, where people used rat meat to make some patties, dim sum, or hot Chinese buns. This, of course, were not real, and there are no recorded cases of this, so I wasn't alarmed by such jokes from Joey. And he even talks about many urban legends that originate from Manila. He always talks about it with me, and we occasionally joke at each other. He cracks up some hilarious jokes, and it made us good friends. One day, I asked him about his burgers and why do they taste so good. And all Joey said is that he has a secret ingredient that he mixes with the pork and many other seasoning that he came up with that made his burgers so tasty. I asked him if he could tell me the secret, but he refused and told me it's a secret that his dad told him and he must keep it. Even when I reasoned with him, he didn't tell me the secret ingredient. I then gave up in respect of his decision. It did not matter to me anyway because I didn't even know how to make burgers. Several months have passed and we have a 23 missing persons case, and I always stop at Joey's in a rush because we were handling many of these cases. We couldn't find any of the missing people, some suspected of kidnapping, and the victims' relatives were hoping that they were still alive, but there was no way to know unless we would find them. So one night, after leaving from the station, I stopped at a local church. It was a big Baroque church built by the Spanish in the year 1844. I kneeled down and prayed the rosary in front of a statue of the Virgin Mary. One of my petitions was her to tell me who the criminal was and where to find the bodies or the missing people. I got a feeling that Joey was the perpetrator, but I dismissed it. I didn't have any evidence, and Joey was just a normal guy making burgers for a living. As he told me, I'm living my best years by living my passion, and it's making burgers. How could I accuse such a sweet guy? 4 months have passed, and the people are still missing. Not one of them are found, but the case has only started to add up. Before, it was 23. Now, it's 40 people. We did not know who were taking these people. For some, they would think that it was the syndicates who would kidnap children or some other gang that manages to stay hidden. But nonetheless, we will find them if they were a gang hiding under our noses, and we will get to arrest them and even maybe rescue the kidnapped people. But for now, we still have to search and investigate. I went to my home and I was greeted by my wife and 2 kids. They were already having dinner when I got home because I was late. I was working on the case of the missing people in our area. All 40 people in our area were missing, and there was no one that seemed to be the perpetrator of the crimes. "Hey, you look stressed." My wife greeted me and hugged me. "Yeah, honey, a lot of people are missing in our area, and we still don't know who the suspect is." "It's been running for months now. Can't your station find any evidence?" my wife said while wiping the sweat off my brow. "Nothing yet. It's unfortunate, and it seems like the suspect is skilled and knows how to hide his tracks," I said as I sat down on the dinner table. "Well, have you guys found any witnesses? You've searched far," my wife asked. "Nah, nothing. No witnesses," I sighed as I looked down on my plate. "Maybe it's time to look into our area," my wife said. "We did, and no one is found to be the suspect," I said, looking down at my plate, with the dish finally eaten. "Well, I guess you need to rest now, along with the kids," she said in her soothing voice. "Whatever happens, don't go outside the house until this case is over," I said to my wife. "You can bet on that. My uncle stays with us here and walks the kids to school while you're gone," she replied. "Well, that's great. I think we should pay him more and let's get to bed. I'm dead tired," I said back, and my wife nodded and took the plates off the table. I got up and went upstairs to the bedroom. I changed into my house attire and drifted off to sleep. A scream in the middle of the night awakened me, and I instantly got up. It woke my wife up, and she rubbed her eyes. I quickly rushed to the window to see what was going on, and saw a woman getting dragged into a dark alley. I told my wife to get the kids in our room, and I rushed to get my service weapon to pursue the man dragging the woman. Once I got my service weapon, I immediately ran out to chase who was dragging the woman. The man was fast and is dragging her through the cement road of the city, and I am on the chase. The lights were dim and many dark corners were present, so I am alert all the time while I was chasing the man. I aimed a pistol and shot at the man, but I missed. He dropped the woman, who happened to be a young woman in her 20s, working as a waitress in a nearby club, and I immediately recognized her. I helped her get back to her feet, and I looked to see the man. But he vanished, and I didn't see him again that night. I escorted the woman to the police station. They asked me to describe the suspect, but I cannot, since all I saw was a dark silhouette pulling the woman, since it was dark in the street that I was living in. They made her stay in the station, and I was given a ride by my colleagues on my way home. They asked me about the encounter, and I described it as creepy and strange, and I couldn't miss the rotting scent of the man who dragged the young woman into the dark. When I got home, my wife and kids were already sleeping, and so I decided to stay in the living room and lay on the sofa. I did not sleep that night, so I mostly spent all those hours using my phone and immediately took off for work when 6 a.m. came. I arrived at the station, and they had already took the surveillance footage from the cameras and saw what happened. It was a young woman walking alone at night, and a man dressed in an all-black clothing stalking her. A few minutes into the footage, and the action took place. He punched the young woman that dropped her to the ground and dragged her to the dark, and that was when she screamed. I saw myself in the footage chasing after the man and shot at him. The man let go of the woman and ran away, but it seemed that he wasn't hit. Other cameras caught a glimpse of his face, and to my shock, it was Joey. He was the one responsible for such a crime, and so we were dispatched to arrest Joey, and we did go to the residence. Just by standing by the door, we already could smell the rotten meat. We were knocking by the door, but no one was answering, so we decided to break down the door. And to our shock and horror, we saw inscriptions and drawings from what I could call blood on the wall saying random stuff and depicting violence. We searched the area, but Joey was not found anywhere. We came back to our senses and searched the whole house. All we could find were human body parts and bones of animals. It smelled so bad inside, and we were searching up the house for items and evidence until one of my colleagues discovered the hidden door. We opened it and saw stairs heading down to some basement, and it smelled even worse. We went down to search, and the walls were still covered in blood. We saw jail cells with bones in it, and halfway through the hallway, the wallpaper suddenly changed. It was nothing more but, we think, human skin used as wallpaper. My colleagues couldn't take it and they vomited. That scene was disgusting, and the floor was full of blood. We treaded carefully to walk through and saw a horrifying discovery. We counted and we saw all the 40 bodies, confirmed to be in the basement. Another team was dispatched to assist us, and as we were searching all of the corpses for identification, I found a piece of paper inside the mouth of a dead woman. When I opened it, this was written on it: Joey's Burgers recipe. 1 pork meat, 1 cow liver, 1 piece of human meat, 1 piece of cheese, 1 piece of human breast tissue, salt, pepper, buns, lettuce, and bacon. This horrified me and traumatized me for the rest of my adult life, and I was escorted out of the house as the entire Soko comes to the house. I threw up then and there and I passed out. I awakened in the hospital and I was soon discharged. Joey was never found and is still wanted today. He is out there somewhere in this world, and I cannot forgive myself for not catching this guy. And what's even worse is that he has been feeding me human flesh for all that time. Joey is still out there, and he might strike on your neighborhood next. So, if you see a strange guy opening a burger stand, you better watch out and be careful out there. What do you guys think of this week's story? I honestly enjoyed the story, since Dahmer just came out on Netflix. If you have thoughts about the story, share them down in the comment section below. If you're enjoying the content so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel to your friends and family. If you have stories you would want me to narrate, send them over at mrelamatph@gmail.com. Salamat guys, and see you in the next one.